Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Lost Legend TV. We are Rated MC, and I'm Ray.
And I'm James.
Today we're talking about arguably the biggest unsolved case in history.
And they made a movie about it.
At least top 5.
Yep. Critics enjoyed it. Like, critics didn't shit on it, think, oh, it was a bad film or whatever. It is the Zodiac.
It's got an all-star cast.
Mark Ruffalo, which you might know from like the MCU movies. Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., also from Marvel. It's got Brian Cox, which you might know from Super Troopers. Really based around the story of the Zodiac. Like the legend of it, like how everything went together. Again, for the most part, this film is based around Robert Graysmith. He is a cartoonist who worked for the San Francisco Chronicle, which is played by Jake Gyllenhaal. But like when it comes to like solving stuff, it's like he's one of the people who's like going into a lot of the stuff that happens.
He's like the main pivot point of film.
And they go through like his life, stuff that things that happened to him and shit like that. They had a specific person, at least for the film, who they believed had done it.
And it's still unsolved. How crazy is that?
Still unsolved to this day.
Like
what? Legit.
50 years later?
Mm-hmm. It starts off on 4th of July. The start of the Zodiac Killer, or at least for the most part, what people believe is the start of the Zodiac Killer.
This is an opening scene.
It is the opening scene. What were their names? Because I want to make sure I get this right. Darlene Farron, Mike McGahill. The story goes for that is Darlene was cheating on her husband with Mike. They were going to like a lover's lane. She had just gotten off work, picked him up, and they were going out there, to do what lovers do. I don't know if they were going to have sex or not, if they were just going to chill, kiss. We'll never know because on the way, somebody was following her. She knew who it was because like she noticed the car and everything and she was freaked out. The car followed them all the way up there, but then passed by. And they're like, okay, cool, so he's gone. What they should have done is left.
Yeah. He
came back and blocked him in, and he came around Mike's side, and Mike was like, you had us worried back there or whatever, and then he shot him. And he shot Darlene. He walked away from the car and came back, and Mike was trying to get away, and he was like climbing to the back seat, and that inevitably saved his fucking life.
Yeah.
Because, he was going for kill shots, and he didn't know that he didn't kill Mike. Mike got out the car, was bleeding or whatever. He survived. He's the only one who survived the situation. That is literally how the film starts. And then him calling the cops like he did. He was well known for that. Several things that you'll definitely know about the Zodiac Killer is he called the cops afterwards to let you know that he did his killing. And he wrote letters to the San Francisco Chronicle.
So about a month after Darlene and Mike get shot and Mike survived, Robert, which is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, they received these deciphered letters from the Zodiac. Or from this killer that calls himself the Zodiac. So they get these letters and they can't decipher them. Everybody on the team's trying to do it. So they put them in the papers.
Because that's what he wanted.
One of the letters was actually deciphered and solved.
A couple.
It
was like, I think they were like teachers. One of them was a teacher. I mean, I have to go back and read it. I don't remember specifically, but they solved it.
So the next event that happens is a young man named Brian and this young woman named Cecilia are having a picnic outside. And
at Lake Berryessa.
The Zodiac Killer comes in broad daylight. Well, he's dressed in this black cloak, this hooded robe, and he stabs both of them.
The way the whole thing goes is Cecilia said that she saw somebody like watching them. So what had happened was the Zodiac Killer had put the hood on to not be recognized, and he went after them.
It makes you wonder why he changed MOs too, because he's mostly recognized as a shooter. Mm-hmm. Well, this time he chose to stab somebody in broad daylight.
And he did have a gun, so he could have shot them.
Right. Maybe the switch of MO was part of his MO,
Mm-hmm. Keep him guessing.
Yeah.
And Brian did not die. And, of course, the Zodiac also wrote on the car, leaving like a message for him, basically bragging about how he did it. And again, he called the cops to let them know, hey, there's been a murder out here at Lake Berryessa.
And it's kind of odd because now you have 2 survivors. Mm-hmm. And this is still unsolved.
They try to talk to Mike and Brian gives them as much information as he possibly can. Mike did talk, but he was very shooken up. Like, he didn't want to talk at first. Graysmith starts, helping with the decoding of the messages and stuff. And it's something he actually tried to do. Put together, one of the quotes that the Zodiac had made was from The Most Dangerous Game of All, a film and also a book. Paul Avery, which is played by Robert Downey Jr., they start discussing the case together. Going out for drinks, doing all this stuff, trying to figure out stuff.
So the movie jumps 2 weeks later where the Zodiac Killer kills a taxi driver named Paul Stein. He actually goes as far to mail pieces of his bloodstained shirt, Stein's bloodstained shirt, with another taunting letter. And this is where Dave Toschi and Bill Armstrong come into the film.
Which is Mark Ruffalo, but plays Dave Toschi. Now, the actual case of the film, what had happened was the Zodiac had like got in the car with the guy, and he wanted to be stopped at a certain spot because they were able to find that because he was supposed to stop at a certain area, but it was crowded, or there was a person walking on the sidewalk, and he didn't want to be seen doing this, so he asked him to go a couple of blocks around. Once he pulled his gun out, which he used the same thing. He used a 9mm Luger, shot him point blank range at the back of his skull. The police they said that they put out a bulletin that they were looking for a black male suspect.
Huge mistake.
This continues for years and years, him sending letters and stuff, and he took credit for some cases that they didn't believe he actually did. He was famous for saying something like shooting the tires out of a bus and then picking the keys off as they jumped off or whatever, which freaked out the Chronicle. And he started talking to Melvin Billy, which was a lawyer at the time.
Yeah, I know also I remember the movie about them deciphering fake letters.
Yeah.
That's been sent in. Because what they analyzed, too, is the Zodiac Killer was so smart, he would write some words left-handed, write the rest right-handed. Mm-hmm. Calculated.
And it became such a toll on Toschi in his life trying to figure this stuff out as it did with Robert Graysmith. Because Robert Graysmith ended up losing his wife over it, started dating another woman, and that became a problem because he was so into the case that he was trying to figure it out as much as possible, even going as far as going to a house of somebody he thought had information on the Zodiac Killer.
It's dedication, though. So I think the biggest suspect they ever had was Arthur Lee Allen. The movie portrays him as a weird guy. He does things like he wears a Zodiac wristwatch, which is the same logo used. I think they searched his house. Mm-hmm. Things didn't line up in the sense of the Zodiac, like I mentioned earlier, he was ambidextrous.
But he was ambidextrous. Arthur Lee Allen was ambidextrous.
But after analyzing the handwriting, it wasn't a match.
Or they believed it wasn't a match.
Unless he just had the fucking ability to fucking change his handwriting. It didn't pan out.
Robert starts asking Toschi all this other stuff and trying to find out as much as he can because he's trying to solve it. After a while, the case kind of goes cold because he hasn't killed anybody in a while. He even stopped sending letters at some point, and it came down to two suspects, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Another suspect that they had was Rick Marshall, and Robert Graysmith went looking for it because apparently he lived close to where Darlene lived, and he had a film, his favorite film was The Most Dangerous Game. And he went to this guy's house, and this guy basically made it come off he kind of painted it like he might have been the Zodiac Killer that he was talking to, and because he was did Rick not write this? No, I wrote these, and it was the exact handwriting of the Zodiac Killer, or it was the closest match they ever had. Robert gets scared, he leaves, and then he starts coming up, looking for more and more information. He finally pinpoints that he believes it was Arthur Lee Allen. The moment the Zodiac Killer stopped writing letters, Arthur Lee Allen had gone to jail. He got out, and in the film, they have Robert go up to this place, look at Arthur Lee Allen, in the eyes. In the film, that was supposed to be your moment, his moment, he realized that's who the killer was. They cut later in about 2006 or so, and they finally tracked him down. He's been gone for a long time. They couldn't find him, and they show him another lineup, and he's like, "I know it's been years. I know it's been a really long time. But if you could look at this for me and just see if maybe you see the guy." And the person he picked out, Arthur Lee Allen. So they were going to build another case on the guy. Not that long after, Arthur Lee Allen died of a heart attack. And like I said, that's one of the reasons they couldn't do much against him. And that was one of the biggest people they had. The film, like I said, fades out. It tells you a bunch of different things, and it tells you, of course, the case is still open. And I believe Napa Valley. I think the film definitely covers the subject very well.
And they didn't skip a beat on the facts either. Mm-mm. Not for real.
They didn't. Like I said, they focused on two different people's lives. They focused on Toschi, and they focused in on Robert. Everybody gave like great performances to me, and all the information they had, they gave you everything they could.
I think the film, there's no other word than great. Like, it's a great film. Like, so you have all-star cast, and they came with the facts and the direction they lead you to believe, hey, it might be this guy or this guy. You know, based off the research that I've done, which you know a lot more about it than me.
Yeah, because I'm still reading the book.
The biggest possibility, based on evidence, is probably Arthur.
Yep.
Arthur Lee Allen. Will we ever know? Probably not.
I think it was last year they did solve one of the other unsolvable fucking ciphers that he did.
So in due time, maybe we get closure on it. So I think this is probably hands down the biggest unsolved case in American history. It's the fucking Zodiac. And that's just to actually sit down and like read facts about how people dedicated, like Robert dedicated their whole life, sacrificing marriages and
he wasn't even
like
a fucking cop or nothing. He was just he was so enthralled by it.
To take it that far, just to try to save more people's lives, just say, hey, we did it. We found out. Sadly, that didn't happen. That's getting on a tangent. The movie itself is great. Like I said, from the opening scene, them show you the crime, and then it's showing you, Darlene.
And that's another thing that they show the crimes.
Yeah. The factor of the movie is, like I say, it shows some of the murders, give you like an on-site feel of it. They throw up the facts, and they show you just Robert's dedication, like I keep saying. I don't know if that's a healthy thing that he went that far, but it shows you how mad it can drive somebody.
Yeah.
Imagine family members, victims. If I had to rate the movie,
I'd give it an 8.
I'll probably give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
A solid 8, yeah. It's a great movie, a very rewatchable movie.
Let us know what you thought about the film. If you're new, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff we have to say. If you want to talk more about the stuff, like if you're like just huge into the Zodiac stuff like I am, like looking up the interests and facts and crazy stuff that happened, we can talk about it if you want to in the comments.
I said James is reading the book. We showed it in the unboxing, I think, last month. So after you're done with it, I'm definitely gonna read it.
Yeah, I'm over halfway. It's taking a lot of time for me to read it, but until next time, y'all. Deuces.
Adios.
Let me tell you how it's about to go. Let me show you the towel you're about to throw. This is hip-hop, try to run an on-house war, knock your ass straight out the door. I'm the enemy's epitome, the fantasy, my tendency to mentally give your career the death penalty. I instantly advise you to match my intensity, try to fit my brain like Jackie Kennedy. I'm so tired of the why not side of putting MCs in a pine box. You motherfuckers couldn't even hit me in my blind.